Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Sachin Karnik. Today is the 27th of May, 2025. I want to welcome you all to week number 21 of year number 2 of our online personal transformation program for Angel Wing. Many, many thanks for all of you online as well as individuals listening to these talks independently. Please remember that we are going through a sequential process of trying to present and to explore the importance of this extraordinary wealth we have within our hearts, within our minds, within our body, and that is energy. Right? So we are actually on the 4th stage right now, but they're all together. These are not really separate from each other. Stage 1 is energy activation and utilization. Stage 2 is energy equalization. Stage 3 is energy conservation. Stage 4 is energy revitalization. Stage 5 is energy transmutation. So in the current series up to week number 26, we'll be looking specifically at energy revitalization and in connection to conservation also, because it's a connection all the way through. So today, if you remember from last time, we were talking about our mental power, right? The power of the mind, the power of cognition. These are some things that were looked at last time very quickly. Conservation preserves cognitive resources. Obviously, there's no question about that. Our mental strength is going to be enhanced the more we are able to keep our energies intact and keep them, within a certain range. This is the conservation phenomena. Reducing overload and preventing burnout. We've covered all these points already. I'm just going through these again just as a quick review. Enabling sustained focus throughout the day. Fewer decisions means better decisions. We talked about that last time. Allowing for higher order thinking. All right, so these are some of the things from last recording that conservation does allow us to, it really helps us in that way. Just a couple more points along those lines before we move into the next section, which is actually on, wait a minute, where did that go? It's on revitalization. So preserving cognitive resources, the intentional preservation of mental resources. The intentional preservation means what? To deliberately, directly, willfully keep energies intact where they need to be. Why is that? Because mental energy is limited. Conservation allows for more effective usage. These ideas should be very clear by now. It is especially crucial in environments of high stimulation and multiple tasking or multitasking. The cumulative impacts of minor distractions does build up, right? So that also we want to be very aware of, and foundations for productivity, clarity, and emotional regulation. Now, let's look at this now. This is where we're beginning here today. Preservation of cognitive resources, and how does this transmute? So cognitive resources include attention, memory, and processing power. So what is attention versus concentration? This is the first point for today. I'm going to talk about this a little bit here. Go through each of these very carefully and then see where it takes us. So there's a difference between attention versus concentration. And that is going to make a significant difference when we want to understand revitalization. So for example, let's use some simple examples. Sachin is, let's say, on a sidewalk in a park. In fact, I was there today and I'm just seeing different trees, different people, the beautiful scenery, the clouds. I'm attentive to what is present. That is called attention. And see how these words are used. Concentration would be I'm placing my thoughts in one direction. I'm looking at one person for the next 2 or 3 minutes. I'm looking at one tree or in one area only. That would be concentration. Both abilities are significant in terms of energy utilization, energy flow overall, energy conservation, and energy revitalization. But they are functioning differently. Attention versus concentration. So if you're taking notes, let's get this point absolutely clear. What is the difference? So attention is more in alignment with the concept of pure awareness or choiceless awareness. Awareness is being in touch with reality. That is awareness. It's just being present, being there with the reality around us, within us. Both places. I'm sitting in a park. I'm attentive to the cars around me, the people around me, who is there, this, there, etc., without any kind of internal energetic tearing apart or fragmentation. I'm not tearing apart my energies when there is attention, or what we will call attentive awareness. That's not concentration. It's very different. Attention is observation without distraction, observation without internal resistance. That automatically conserves energy and automatically revitalizes energy. So what is the practice in this? How to do this? Start in nature. Best place is to start in nature because you have a wide view. Parks, we have so many parks all over the place. Go to different parks to do this. Park your cars and say, I'm here to practice attention. I want to really be in touch with that. So what's the homework assignment for this week? Go in natural setting. And now the weather is warm. You can easily go outside and just sit on a bench or maybe walk slowly and be aware of what's happening, what is around. But don't concentrate on anything. Don't analyze anything. Just allow for the sensation to be and the presence to just be in presence. That's it. With that, and notice the flow of thoughts within. Now, this is a more advanced practice. As we said, as we move into the second year, into the mid of the second year and beyond, we are going to be talking about more sophisticated techniques, right? So these are very powerful techniques. And one of these techniques is to be able to maybe sit on a park bench for 5 minutes or 10 minutes at a time and to be in attentional awareness. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's just you and reality around you. That's it. So the suggestion here, turn the phone off. You can turn the phone off for 10 minutes. It's not a problem. Put it in the purse or put it in the car or something. Leave it alone for a while. And say, I'm just present, just in presence. Take steady breaths in. How to do the practice? Steady breaths in and out. You don't have to hold your breath or anything. You can if you want to. No big gymnastics or anything in that. See the trees. See the clouds. And the mystery of creation. How amazing it is. How extraordinary it is. This is it's a tremendous meditative practice. And it has massive religious connotations also. If on Thursday night, we'll be talking about trying to link some of these ideas together. But this is how it's done. So you just park the car and get out and take a maybe water bottle with you if you want, and just sit on a bench or maybe walk a little bit so you get your blood flowing a bit, and just say that it's just me in nature. That's it. That's as simple as that. And you'll notice in the beginning how hard that is, because we are either thinking about something all the time or we are driven in some direction all the time to perform a task. All the time we're driving, moving from one activity to another. We're concentrating. We are in a modality of resistant concentration. And that tears apart energy. Resistant concentration is one of the biggest problems in human civilization. We want non-resistance concentration as needed, and the natural diving back into attentive awareness without resistance. This isn't it can be a very advanced practice, meditative, spiritual, and religious practice. But this is how. Go slow with it. It's not like all of a sudden this is to be done no. Start by literally sitting on a park bench and say, I'm going to sit here and just be present. That's it. And steady breathing. Keep your eyes open. Look around. Just see. Don't analyze anything. But the mind is going to, you'll notice what happens within literally a minute, less than a minute. The thinking begins. All kinds. Why am I sitting here? What am I to do? I feel bored. Maybe I'm thinking about something yet to do tomorrow. You'll notice the TEMDE immediately. If you want to know now what is TEMDE experientially, this is a direct practice to be aware. My God, my thoughts are going in so many places. I have so many emotions, so many memories. All of this becomes, we become aware of this slowly. That my God, this is all going on. This activity is going on. So the thoughts, emotions, memories, desires, and energy, they are flowing because we're alive. And when we try to sit in nature, this internal world begins to reveal itself as this massive fountain of so much activity going on. So what do you do with that? There's nothing to be done. Awareness is not doing something to the activity. For example, if you're seeing clouds at a distance, you're not doing something to those clouds. You're just there. You're seeing the shape, the color, the sun beaming, etc. And that's all. Now somebody might say, well, what's the big deal in that? That's the biggest deal. To be able to perceive clouds and trees and mountains and nature and lakes and flowers without the friction of the TEMDE. There you go. That's energy conservation and transmutation simultaneously. The internal friction is so much. Can we even sit for 5 minutes without the internal friction for 5 minutes? We will not be able to do it even for 1 minute in the beginning. 1 minute will be too much. Because there's so much activity going on, bubbling here or there. Okay, that's all right. But what to do? Again, breathing, steady breathing, being present, just presence only. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit more what else can be done in this, how else to do this, or what additional steps are. The mystery of creation. My God, how extraordinary all this is. The mysterious vision, the mystery of creation, the beauty that is present. In nature, we can see beauty. We feel that. It's just subjective presence. And as internal stuff comes up, what do you do with it? You don't do anything to it. Not doing anything to it is awareness. And that's the hardest part. Because we always are trying to do something to our thoughts, to our feelings, to our emotions, to our memories. Memory comes up, let's push it aside. Let's do this to it. The not doing anything to the TEMDE is the greatest activity to do, quote. It's not a doing at all. This is a practice. It's a practice without a practice. It's not a practice like alternate nostril breathing. It's not a practice where you're listening to some particular guided meditation. It's none of those things. This is called choiceless awareness meditation. And it's done in nature to begin with. Then anywhere you are, you can do it. You can do it at home, in your car. It doesn't make it anywhere. It doesn't matter. This is to be tried this week. Do it for 5 minutes each day. To sit only by yourself and then you'll notice as time goes on throughout the week. You'll notice as time goes on throughout the week that we'll be more comfortable just with our inner self and with our surrounding. We are not in tune with ourselves because we're running from one place to another, always engaged in something rather than just at peace with existence. We're not at peace with existence. So to get to that state of being peace with existence, what is needed? Paying $1,000 for a silent retreat somewhere? You can do that if you want to. It's all right, nothing wrong. Do it. But you can have your own silent. Where is the issue of running away from reality? Enlightenment is where you are. It's not running away to find it somewhere else. It's where you are. But where you are, we are not aware of where we are. That's the difference. So now to bring that awareness, be in tune with nature. For example, there's a park that I like to go to. I think it's called Delcastle Park. Beautiful. And maybe we'll hold a retreat there one day. It had a lot of nice sitting areas. But they had these massive tall trees. Massively tall. And the other day I was there and I was, observing that. And just the act of observation brings awe and wonder. So much extraordinary amazement. What is this existence? Then I took some time to just touch the tree. Tactile. So activity that you do in nature, not to analyze, the botanical principles and biological principles. That's okay. That is analysis. That's a different act of the mind. We're talking about presence. Just presence. And there is great joy in that. There is the great wonder in that. Great mystery in that. A childlike simplicity in that. In just touching a tree, touching a leaf. How, with the awareness of the feel, the tactile experience of touching a leaf. And that fact that it exists, we exist, the senses exist, it's awareness. And in that awareness, now you see what happens. There is naturally, or there can be, the quality of respect. The quality of respect comes about. Energies automatically get conserved inside. Energies get automatically harmonized inside. And revitalization. The quality of respect for a tree revitalizes the internal energy. Respect for those who are walking in the park. Respect for the dogs that are present there. Respect for the bugs that are present there. Respect for the clouds that are present there. Respect for the inward breath and the outward breath. How fantastic is that? Just that respect. It's a quantum meditation. And when we do this type of meditation, we can do it with a friend, you can do it in a small group, and we actually will do some of these when we have retreats in nature. We're going to do this, angel wing retreats, or at my place we'll be doing it also. It sounds almost like, this sounds kind of simplistic. What's the big deal? It is the biggest deal. It is everything. It is the essence of life. So the quality of respect for the experience automatically stabilizes and revitalizes our internal power. But that quality needs to awaken from inside. So it is the quality of presence of the tree. Literally, and in my life, I don't mean to talk about me necessarily, but I'm just sharing with you. When we were doing these awareness retreats years back, this Memorial Day weekend, for example, I used to go to a retreat center, and these are the kinds of things we used to do. Just to be able to sit with plants and trees and people and mountains, sit with a small group of people, just silently. How beautiful that is. Presence. So respect for the extraordinary that is around us. And then from that respect, now the next stage is love. Now this is our power word for today. This is our power word for everything boils down to only one word only, that is love. In the Sanskrit language, that is called bhakti, Bhakti. In the monotheistic traditions in the West, it is called devotion. Devotion is devotion towards the divine, towards God. It's just love. Now, in the beginning, if I'm standing in front of a tree, it'll be very hard for me to say there's love for the tree. But as the presence increases, there is respect for its existence, for my existence, respect for all. And then from there our emotions begin to fundamentally transmute. So beautiful qualities open up from within. The sensitivity opens up. the fragrance that may be around that brings about appreciative awareness. There are qualities like respect, sensitivity, the softness of a leaf that also comes up. The color of the teaching that the tree is giving. It is giving shade. There's so much that comes from that. What does this all do for us? It is a great state of revitalization. It is nature meditation. This type of meditation. It's not analysis. It's not looking at big philosophies of, from philosophy of mind and this. It's none of those things. That has its place also. That's fine. But this is just the glory and the beauty and the presence of the natural world which we are part of. Okay, now, this is all called choiceless awareness meditation. And what does it do? It revitalizes us. It is very, very, very beautiful. And the power increases if you do it in a small group. 3 people, 5 people, probably not more than 5, maybe 7. But if you do it in a small group, and then there's a guide, initially a little bit of a guidance is required, and then the highest of that, you can continue in a group, you can be there's nothing like aloneness. So this is another point, another exercise this week. The beauty of aloneness versus the torment of loneliness. Yes, so many people have a heck of a time with just being by themselves. Sometimes children are not around, spouse is not around. You're just by yourself. Things are okay otherwise. I feel so lonely. I feel so sad. I feel, depressed. Why? Because we don't know the art of aloneness, the glory of aloneness. There's nothing like that. In the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a beautiful verse on this. That there is, the highest yogis, the highest awakened beings are alone. Does that mean we're not interacting with others? Not at all. Aloneness is not about interaction or not interaction. It is about being absolutely, unequivocally, 100% in alignment with yourself, where there is no damage to energy flow, and there is joy wherever you are. That's just, and love. Love is just present. And that is aloneness, not loneliness. Loneliness is an energy drainer. There's damage in loneliness. There's a sense of this is missing, this is missing, this is missing. How can I go to a restaurant by myself? No, I cannot. Why not? Go to a restaurant by yourself. So what? Aren't there other people there? They're also part of your family. The whole world is a family. Change the vision. You see, so this is the glory of energy revitalization. Energy revitalization can be done using these beautiful, very simple things that can be done, but we are uncomfortable doing them. There's quite a few number of people who cannot walk into a restaurant by themselves. They'll pick up something and bring it home. They say, no, I don't want to eat by myself. Why not? Why not? Try it. Do it. Get out of that resistance mode. Go to the park by yourself. Go with a friend. If a friend is there, it is just sugar mixed with honey. Sweetness increases. No problem. If friend is nobody's there, it's all right. The birds are not there. The trees are not there. Are they not our friends? Have you ever thought about it this way? That if I'm going for a walk in the park, I'm going with a friend. Has anyone said that I'm going for a walk in the park, and the birds and the trees and the clouds and all the different other beings that are present, they're also all my friends? Have we thought about that? Religious language would say this is a way to tap into the omnipresence of God. And we'll talk more about that on Thursday. But it's a type of religious meditation, if you want to look at it that way. So what is the benefit in this? Our health is going to be better. Our breathing is better. our energy flow is better. This is all part of choiceless awareness. Now, the second part, the second type of activity is concentration. Concentration is quite different from this. Concentration is a volitional, deliberate placing of the TEMDE in a direction. Remember, the direction, dimension, depth. Remember the quantity, quality, direction, dimension, depth, and structure. So when Sachin goes into the park, and if I am listening to an audiobook, now this is different now. This is not that first one. This is a second type of activity. Let's say I'm listening to an audiobook on some subject, as an example, and I'm walking. Still, I'm aware of all that is around, beautiful, yes. But where is my attention? On the words of what is being spoken. Am I listening without resistance? Am I listening carefully? Am I hitting pause to reflect? If I'm concentrating and placing my thoughts and emotions and my memories and my cognitive ability in that direction, then what is that going to do to my energies? My energies are getting concentrated in that one place, in the act of listening and then thinking, and that's going into my memories. Yes. Now, can that happen without resistance? Yes, it can. It can happen without the internal friction and resistance. But how? Again, how to do this? The way to, in the very beginning stages, sit by yourself, maybe on a bench for a couple of minutes, listen to just 3 minutes, and then hit pause. If you're doing a YouTube audiobook or an audible audio book or something, I'm giving that as an example. You can do with music also in so many other ways. Hit pause and notice what's happening inside. Where are the thoughts going? Where are the memories? How much was heard? What was remembered? It's not the quantity, it's the quality. So when we are concentrating on an act, on listening, or talking to someone, or cooking, any kind of activity, going to work, when we are concentrating, do the action as clearly, as thoroughly as possible. And when we do it for its own natural perfection, that is called beauty in action. The action is beautiful. Beauty is, of course, flowers and trees and plants and all that is also that is there. But action itself becomes beautiful in the act of non-resistant concentration. So if you're breaking notes, there's two big points here today. One is choiceless awareness meditation. The second point, which I'm making now, which is being made now, is non-resistant concentration. The first one is called attention. The second one is called concentration. And the internal resistance, we will see it right away. I start listening to something, it doesn't matter, music, I'm doing some concentrated activity. Internally, so many other things come about. All right, how do I deal with it? Settle it down. By deep breathing, by getting a new perspective on it, by pushing a pause button if you need to, whatever. And you see how rapidly our mind goes, where it goes. And then that can distort the energy flow. For example, if I'm cooking a dish at home, and a dish that, let's say, my father enjoyed a lot. My father, he passed away some 3+ years ago. And immediately my mind goes, I'm reminded of him. And then it goes into, I'm missing him so much. Within just 5 seconds, the whole mood can change because of a scent, because of a vision of a dish, or because of a song being heard. Isn't it so? Isn't it so? You see the quality, quantity, direction, dimension, depth, structure. And we're going to talk about these. We talked about it a bit in the retreats, monthly retreats. We're going to have special, 13-week series on all of these as time goes on. But I'm putting in pieces of this now because it's all together. It's like putting a whole puzzle together. So you'll notice what happens. Sachin is in the kitchen. I'm making some Indian dish that my father used to enjoy. And I smell it. And I'm making it beautifully, exactly the way even he liked it. And then what happens? He's not there anymore. I'm immediately lonely. He's missing. This is missing. That's missing. This is And I start. My thoughts are just running to the races. one memory after another, one memory after another, and then I start feeling so sad, and it just goes on. Now, someone might challenge here, Sachin, and say, "What's wrong with that?" I said, "There's nothing wrong with it. You have the freedom to make yourself completely sad if you want to. You can do it. Make yourself as sad as you want. And you have the freedom to see the whole process with a great deal of joy, respect, love, gratitude, and cherishing his life. It's up to me. I can make myself extremely sad. I can make myself extremely lonely. I can make myself extremely deficient. And I can also make myself uplifted to the highest levels. That is my freedom." When I used to do clinical practice, I used to have people coming in with depression and all that. And of course, clinically, you have to handle the situation. But I used to say to them, you have the absolute freedom to remain as depressed as you want. They said, "What do you mean by that?" It's like a shocking statement. I have freedom to remain depressed? Yes. And you have freedom to get out of that also. It's use your energy in a different direction. You can, but it happens in its own way. That's why we created this PTP program, to reclaim our natural freedom, which we have abandoned almost as a slave. We have abandoned it to life circumstances and to the slavery of the mind. We have abandoned it. And there's no need to do that. If we want to abandon it then. What else? Or if you say, "I'm not abandoning it," so what? Let this, whatever may be happening is happening. Whatever may have happened has happened. There's under no circumstances is my own mind or anything on the outside going to damage this internal extraordinary power that is the internal energy flowing through this mind, body, brain. No way. Not allow that to happen. Do we have freedom for that? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that freedom is a test that is activated when we are in a state of non-resistant concentration. But when we are concentrating with internal resistance, with certain memories that prop up and damage this, yes, of course there's love for my father. If I love my father really, let me enjoy this meal and remember him and make my life even better than what it is now. Then I can respect. But if I'm just getting sad and angry and this has happened and that happened, getting upset with somebody, and God knows, how am I respecting my father, and where is love in that? I have to ask myself. This is an internal dialogue. And it's just literally, we have said it 1,000 times already, an hour at a time to build the beautiful past, not to build a future. There's no such thing as building a future. We're building the quality of each hour that passes. We can build it with a lot of resistance and agitation and all chaos, or we can build it in the most extraordinary way, 1 minute at a time. That is the art of building the past. It's the art of living. It's the art of breathing. It's the art of cooking. It's the art of touching a tree. It's the art of being with a friend. It's the art of reading the Bible. It's the art of contemplating on extraordinary ideas. And this is energy revitalization. This is our topic. How fantastic. You know, how much this is grace. If you're sitting in a church or in a synagogue or in a temple, be completely absorbed with love and affection and see how beautiful the experience comes about. So there is no need to damage the beauty of action. And if you're making notes, both of these points, attention and concentration, which is in connection to or as a doorway into energy revitalization, is the beauty of action. I'll show you a diagram some other time. I'll make it and I'll show it to you next time. How fantastic is that? So each moment that goes by, it goes by with great vitality. And naturally, energy is always used, but energy is never contradicting itself. It's not hitting against itself. No. so that revitalization begins to flow. So now I just want to make sure, give a couple more examples so that these points are absolutely clear and what the homework assignments are for this week. Because now we're at the midway point of year number 2. Now the exercises are going to get much more intricate and very powerful. All the stuff we've done so far is just the basics. Now it's going to take off for starting today. So these exercises, these 2 on concentration and attention, they are extraordinarily powerful. Powerful in what sense? They will awaken us from inside out. I said, my God, how extraordinary life is all about. And in every single action, you'd be surprised. It could be watching a news show for half an hour. And just be present with it, see what's going on, listen to it, see the bigger picture of what's happening. Is there a reaction inside? And then move on from there. Move on, keep further. We are in a state of concentration. But is there resistance coming? Right now, the political situations in the world, the wars going on, a lot of people are very angry. They're upset. Some of them are really, really so distraught. And some people have done very, it's not easy, right? But whatever it may be, ask yourself, what is my duty? How far do I go with what I feel may be an injustice? Things like that. On that basis, but it has to come from internal tenacity. And then one decides how time is utilized. This is how energy revitalization works. These are fundamental principles. They are going to place us in a mode, in a modality where each day, each hour begins to flow with a phenomenally clear mind. And that's that cognitive part we were talking about in those slides, that it's the awakening of the intelligence of cognition. Yes, that is extraordinarily meaningful. See, cognitive resources, attention, memory, and processing power. Attention versus concentration. Memory is also a massive resource, huge resource. And the best thing about it, being able to leave it alone, being able to perceive it, leave it alone, use what we need, and the processing power. Processing power, what is processing power? We have the ability to process experience. But how do I process it? For example, you watch something on TV or the problems that are going on in the world. How are we processing it? Are we processing it in such a way that doesn't degrade and damage my core potentiality, my core running power inside? Is the experience coming from the world, from the situations in the world? Is it being processed in such a way that I can be very steady, I can be very sane and very healthy? These are the questions. Very important, very powerful questions. All right, so I actually want to go into the quantum quality because we're going to run out of time real soon, and I don't want to overload with too many ideas all at one time. This is good enough for now. Just hold on one moment here. And I'm going to go straight into this quantum. There's a lot of different slides here. Okay, so here we go. Yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on one second here. Okay, so these quantum principles that we have been talking about, these you are familiar with these, of course, and we have been talking about them for a while. I don't know what happened to this. Give me just a moment, please, while I try to screen share that one. There it is. Okay, so again, this principle fits in exactly what we're talking about: non-contradictory desire. No contradiction, no damage inside. This is a quantum quality. We've talked about that before. Just be in this. That's it. It's very, very straightforward. I am not in any kind of contradiction. I'm integrated. I'm whole, and just keep moving ahead. So there's a lot of slides here, that stuff that we've talked about before, conflicting internal conflicts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go through all that again because you already are familiar with that, synergistic effects. These ideas, we have been hearing these for a long time, but here in year number 2, we are seeking to reach a stage of sustained balance. Sustained balance is our theme for year number 2, right? So with that,
Sachin, could you go back to the quantum principle?
Yeah, sure. Hold on one second here. Just let me show it. Let's do it this way. This is quantum principle number 21. It's non-contradictory desires in one's life. Make sure we're clear about the meaning of that. The TEMDE, right? Thought, emotion, memory, desire, energy. The desires we have are contradictory for the most part. I want to eat this piece of cake, but I shouldn't be eating it. I like to do this, but I shouldn't be. It just goes on one thing against another. So we have to move out of that. And this bridge between attention and concentration builds that bridge. It builds that bridge to reach a state of non-contradiction. So this choiceless awareness plus non-resistant attention, non-resistant concentration revitalizes all kinds of energies. And when energies are revitalized, our desires reach a state of non-contradiction. That's the link. I know it's a little bit of a tricky thing to perhaps understand even right away, but you have to take some time to kind of think about it and look into it. I don't know why that hand keeps going up. It goes up automatically for some reason. So just ignore that. Try to find a way to put that thing down. But anyway, that's this principle, right? So I hope that's clear. There's a lot of slides here, and you can look at them later on. But my point is that when we bridge together pure attention and concentration as needed without inner friction of other things coming in between. When that happens, energy revitalizes rapidly. Energy just absolutely revitalizes because things are in balance. We're not eating too much, not eating too less. Everything is remaining in a range that it needs to remain in. And as a result of that, desires themselves are going to be non-contradictory because there's greater energy revitalization. Revitalized energy leads to non-contradictory desires. That's the link between the two concepts. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. Okay, so now it's already 8:45. We'll do the closing song here, and then we'll open it up for questions and comments. So, because I know you guys I don't want to overload because this little bit of a heavy session, but I want to keep it still very much understandable and useful. So here we go. Let's play this song.